Okay, welcome to my video on fishing in the rain, or fishing during a heavy rainstorm, or after a heavy rainstorm. Whatever, you guys get the idea. So this video is a little different than a lot of videos I've done. This one I'm actually doing commentary here over the footage, over the video footage that we're watching. I have not done that in a video in the past, so we'll see how it works out, see how y'all like it. Y'all have to let me know if you like this and if you'd like to see more videos like this or not. And I also apologize about the poor sound quality here. I'm not like using professional equipment or anything like that by any means. I'm just using my laptop and using the old voice recorder app on Windows 10. So we'll see how it works out for us. And there's, I think, kind of some background fuzziness to the sound, but I'm way too lazy to figure out how to eliminate that. And quite frankly, I don't really care that much. So, and I'm sure you guys don't care that much either. You're here to get good bass fishing knowledge. Before I really go into anything, I want to throw out a disclaimer. This is my PSA, my public service announcement, so to speak, about fishing in the rain. Fishing in the rain is awesome, and it's fun, and it's great. Sometimes in the winter, it can be a little miserable. It can be a little cold. But fishing during a lightning storm is no bueno. All right? Please, you guys, do not fish during a lightning storm. I actually see guys do it way too often. It astounds me, and I get it. Maybe it's your day off at work. You're not going to get another day off, and so you hate to waste that time and get off the water. But I'm sorry, it is not worth getting struck by lightning. All right, guys. If there's lightning anywhere in the water, in the area, and even if it doesn't really seem like it's in the area, even if it seems like it's off in the distance a little ways, just get off the water. It's not worth it, guys. I see guys push it way too often, and and the thing is, nobody wants to look like the wuss that gets off the water first, right? And but what I found is that everybody is sitting out there fishing and shaking in their boots because they got lightning popping all around them, but they don't want to look like a wuss getting off the water, or tell their fishing buddy that they want to get off the water. But I promise you, everybody around you is shaking in their boots too. So if you just go ahead and you be that first one to get off the water, most everybody else is going to follow suit. I do it all the time, and that's usually what happens. Is I'm usually the first one to get off, and there's a domino effect, and everybody else starts popping off too. So don't feel like a wuss. Just get off the water if there's lightning around, please. All right, now that I've spoken my piece with that, let me tell you a little bit about where the footage for this video comes from. This is a trip that I took out on Lady Bird Lake just by myself. This actually happened back in January this year, so this is kind of a winter time trip. It was kind of a mild day. Obviously, it wasn't too freezing cold. I'm not like bundled up or anything. I think I'm probably even wearing like flip-flops in this video, so obviously it's not that terribly cold, but water temperatures were pretty chilly. But the information that I share with you guys applies to any time of the year with fishing in the rain, and I'm sure I'll mention that again later in the video. But what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to walk you through this trip and through this footage, kind of explain what's going on, and I'm going to explain to you my thought processes with what's going on, the decisions that I make, all that good stuff. So anyways, without further ado, let's take a look here and see where we're at in the video so I can explain what's going on here. Okay, oh, this is perfect timing. So basically what's happened here is I'm making my way up the lake on the trolling motor. If you don't know, Lady Bird Lake is a trolling motor only lake, and so I'm making my way up the lake, and it's a lot more like a river than it is a lake. Now, you notice just a few seconds ago when I said this is perfect, all of a sudden I looked off to the side and I saw something, and I've now changed directions, and I'm headed straight over to the side. Here's what happened. I was fishing my way up the lake on the trolling motor, just covering water with a crankbait or something, and I can't remember where I was headed, but I was going to head up to some spot up the lake, and then all of a sudden I look off to my side, and what I see is this creek. There's a creek that kind of dumps in to the lake just straight up ahead of where I'm headed right now, and this creek was just gushing in all of this rainwater, and so there was a bunch of current flowing in right here, and basically what I saw was all this water flowing in, and you'll see as I start getting closer here, there's a little point right on the side of the creek, and it creates this little eddy, and so what happened was, as soon as I saw that, I just thought, geez, I got to get over there. So let me explain to y'all why it is that something like this catches my eye. It doesn't matter what time of the year it is, fall, spring, winter, summer, I mean, whatever. Any time of the year, you get a big rainstorm like this, and you get a lot of water coming in. And water will come in different areas depending on the type of lake that you're fishing. This like Ladybird Lake here, it has a few little feeder creeks like this, as well as it's got kind of some storm drains and stuff that dump into the lake. And some lakes, like Deep Rock lakes, they've got these. We in Texas here we call them drains. Basically, just these, ditches and stuff that flow into the lake. Where rainwater collects and then runs into the lake. Basically, the backs of creek arms and stuff like that. Like I say, here in Texas we call them drains. It's just natural areas because of the topography. The rainwater collects and funnels into the lake. So anywhere where the rain is getting concentrated and flowing into the lake, I'm going to look for those areas. And if it's been raining hard enough to do that. Sometimes, it's not going to rain hard enough for that rainwater to actually really start flowing into the lake like this. But in this particular situation, it had been raining for a few hours and stuff, and there was a lot of water flowing in through this creek right here, and I saw that current, and I knew I had to get over there. Now, sometimes people will feel like that's a bad thing, at different times of the year. Perhaps, it's winter time or something like that, and perhaps they feel like this rainwater is really cold rainwater, and so their guys are going to go, oh well, that's really cold water flowing in there. This time of the year they want that warm water, something like that. But let me explain to you, just regardless of temperatures, why I'm going to check something like this out. What a lot of people fail to realize is that in every circumstance, availability of food always trumps comfort. Let me repeat that. Availability of food always trumps comfort. Okay? A bass is going to go wherever his food is. And even if it means, let's say, in the summertime, in the heat of summer, everybody thinks, especially here in Texas, everybody thinks about fishing deep, in that cooler, deeper water and stuff. But if the bass's food is up shallow for whatever reason, if there is more food available for him up shallow, he's going to be shallow where that food is, even if it's uncomfortable. You see this a lot on discharge lakes. I say discharge lakes, I mean power plant lakes that have a warm water discharge. Around here we've got Bastrop, Fayette. Water temperatures in those places in the summertime can reach over 100 degrees. But guess what? And that's the hottest part of the lake. But those fish are there. And why? Because their food is there. The shad are there. And so availability of food will always trump comfort. Now, if a bass can be in his comfort zone and have plenty of food to eat, then yes, obviously he's going to take that scenario. But he's going to go wherever his food is. So regardless of comfort, temperature, whatever, always go where the food goes. Now, shad, when you get all this rainwater coming in like this, it washes in a lot of microorganisms and nutrients and stuff like that. Shad are filter feeders, okay? So they feed on microorganisms and everything. And So when you start getting all this current washing all this stuff into the lake, that's why the shad go up in there, is because they're filter feeders and they're going to go up there to feed on stuff that's getting washed into the lake. And that's why the bass are going to go up there, because they're following the shad. So now in this video you see there's this little point that I'm casting at now, that's just on the other side. In fact, you can kind of see in the background of this video, you can see that current just on the other side of this little point. You see that current, that water moving way up there. Anyway, so I'm casting at this little point because there's an eddy. This is where the creek current meets the main lake, and the current on the main lake obviously is not flowing nearly as hard as that current on the creek. So it's created this little eddy on this point right here, and I'm targeting my cast at this eddy. Now I've gone through several different baits here, and none of them have really felt right. I had a few different baits tied on, and none of them really felt right. I think I tried throwing a jerk bait, and I tried throwing a chatter bait, and nothing really felt right. Now right about here, I think, yep, I'm going to reach into that to my tackle compartment here. It was right about now where I finally said, you know what, I got to get a square bill crankbait tied on. And obviously, when you get a lot of rainwater flowing in like this, you get a lot of dirty, muddy water too. And again, in the wintertime, this is a winter trip. Guys are going to think, oh, I don't want to fish cold, muddy water. Well, again, availability of food. Hello. So I pull out a shallow diving crankbait that displaces a lot of water, and it's like a red craw with like a chartreuse belly kind of thing. And now watch. And I only make a couple casts. First cast there, I think, with it. Boom, hooked up. This first fish isn't real big, and he just gets it by the back hook or whatever, I think. But guys, you'll see here. But shoot, there it is, number one. Anyways, things just start rolling from this point. But that shallow square bill crankbait displaces a lot of dirt, muddy water, and it's a nice bright color. Now I should really probably mention that one of the reasons why I kept casting at this point, and why I was targeting this point specifically as opposed to some of the areas around here, because I noticed as I started coming up to this spot, I was casting, in the current, around it, I was casting lots of different places, and then all of a sudden, once I made a cast or two at this point where this eddy was, with that jerk bait at first, shad were just spraying out of the water everywhere. And every cast I made on that point, shad were just spraying around. And so I knew that that's where they were going to be. And so that's when, I switched to chatterbait, and then ultimately the crankbait, where I started catching them. Here's my second one here. But in different scenarios, they may not always be in an eddy. Sometimes they're going to be want to be right in that heavy current, where that water is flowing straight into the water. Sometimes that's where they want to be. So you don't just necessarily want to hit eddies, but also try casting into that heavy current as well. Now I'm going to go ahead and be quiet for a second here, so quit my commentary so that you can hear my Takahiro Omori impression here. I knew they would be right there. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. Sorry, that was pretty lame, but I was excited that those fish were right where they were supposed to be. It's always nice when you find the fish right where you expect them to be. Doesn't always work that way, but man, it's sure nice when it does and the plan comes together. So now I have made several casts with that crankbait and haven't caught another fish. So now I picked up a jig, just a black and blue jig, you know, something that I felt like would be good in this really dirty water. And as you see, the jig scores. This ends up actually being the only fish I caught on the jig, but it was a good one. So anyways, I just tried to squeeze out as many fish out of that spot as I could. I think after this jig fish, that was the last bite I got there. You know, I fished it for another, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes and wasn't getting bit, so, and switched around to a couple different baits and didn't do any good. So I kind of left this spot for a little while. I left it for, I don't know, maybe 45 minutes to an hour, and then came back a little bit later, right about here. And I started throwing the crankbait again to see if any more fish had moved up into this area, and sure enough they did. It kind of reloaded with some more good fish here. You know, don't give up on a spot like this. You know, when there's tons of bait fish and stuff, and there's one little specific spot where they're kind of loading onto, give that spot a break for a little while. If you stop getting bit, come back to it later, and after these fish have had a chance to reload. And I ended up catching just as many fish the second time around as I did the first time. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and be quiet now and let you all just watch some of these other fish catches. Again, I'm just throwing the crankbait and continue to throw it the rest of the time. But anyways, just let you all watch some of these fish catches. If I have any other comments to make, then I will. But for now, just watch. Got her. Oh my gosh. These fish are killing my knees. Okay guys, well that's pretty much all I have to share about fishing in the rain. Thanks for watching. Hopefully y'all found this video to be very informative, and hopefully y'all catch a bunch of them out there the next time you're out fishing in the rain or right after a big rain. Thanks a lot guys.